Right. So this is a introduction to how waves interfere. What we've got down here is what we can call a resultant wave, and we've got wave A and wave B. So this is wave A plus B. Now this is constructive interference because they are adding, they are kind of they're in sync, so they got the same frequency, and they're in phase. So when that one's on a peak, this one's on a peak, and when that one's on a trough, this one's on a trough. And so if these were to combine, then the amplitude would be twice as high. Okay, you can imagine that there's an oscillation that's causing the string or the water or the particle, whatever it is, to be pushed upwards a certain amount. But they're having a second input to do the same, and so it's going to be pushed up by twice the amount. And then when it goes down by twice the amount. When they're both giving at zero, then this one would be at zero. Meanwhile, the one on the right is destructive interference, and again, they've got the same frequency, and they have both of them got the same amplitude as well. Wave A and B, that is. But in the destructive interference, they're out of phase by 180 degrees, so half a wavelength or half a time period. So when this is on a peak, that's on a trough. When that's on a trough, this is on a peak. So you've got, so any one particle will feel, there'll be some sort of driving force to cause it to move a displacement up by a certain amount, whatever the amplitude is, but you'll have the opposite to move down by a certain amount. And so because the resultant force, or however you look at it, depending on the situation, will be zero. And where the points are zero anyway, of course, it's zero. And so you have what we call destructive interference. So you got completely constructive and completely destructive interference. But of course, you can have somewhere in between as well. So if they're just out of sync, then you're going to have slightly constructive or slightly destructive, or however you want to think about it. So they might be, so they might nearly cancel out, or they might nearly completely, reinforce one another. And so you're going to see this with interference patterns when you got two waves coming. So you got two outputs coming from two different slits, and in some places they're going to constructively interfere, and some places they're going to destructively interfere. So you'll have these points on the water or on a screen of two different light rays interfering, where there's going to be no light, and there's going to be, but it is a gradual change from bright light fringes to a dull patch. So that's the basics of wave interference, or the fundamentals. So I'll just stop that video and save that there.